Oh god. Sorry, sir. I'm sorry. But it was needed. This here is a bucket. Dear God, there's more. Gotta be a little attention seeker. Alright. This must be... He really left the slums. It's dangerous, but I'm most sure I need to know. Let's do this. I am not agreeing to do this! Oh god, not the music coming in already. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. Oh, place your bets. How many times we're gonna die? You better bring your fucking ass with me. I am not doing this alone. You coming? Shut the fuck up, my guy. Look at all the Zerg they'll eat us. I can't do this. I'm not as fast as you. The Zerg will get me for sure. Take this badge. My papa will recognize it. He'll know you're a friend. Outsider badge. I'll open the door for you. Ah, fuck me. Intense focusing. Oh god, dead end. We gotta do the thing. Didn't mean to fall down, but okay. Damn it. Damn. I didn't see the jump. I am a dumbass. Air. Dino! Welcome in, welcome in! Come on, come on, come on, come on. Damn it. In a bed now, but I have a fun stream. I'm here for a quick hello. Okay, thank you for stopping by, Lily. Alright, I know a way. I know a way. It's just literally fucking sprint and call it a day. Oh my god. Where the fuck? Okay, there it is. There we go. Be free. Fuck yeah! Kill him! Oh no! Baby, no! Kill him. Fuck yeah. Oh, that was cool. I like that. Okay, that was a huge fall. Doc should be nearby. He must be close. I'm alive. A little chatty. I've meowed 100 times. Damn it. Damn it. There. That was cool. Unironically goes the right way. I want to check out this area first. The scientist used to... Of course, not possible in the city. No one has done that for at least 100 years. Outside, we find ourselves a little cottage with a harmless fishing rod and a lot of books. Okay, that's what scientists would have wanted. But first, we should find Doc. Yes. Rest time. Rest time. I'm kidding. As much as I would love that. Oh, there's a knife. Cool. Hello, good sir. Is anyone here? I'm just a humble cat looking for someone's father. Cool. That actually made my heart stop. Hello, baby. Alright, up we go, and up we fucking stay. Can't they eat through fucking metal? I'm so sorry. Oh my god, why does it look like that one guy from Back to the Future? Whoa. Wait, you're not a Zerk, who are you? What's that badge you're wearing? Where'd you find this? My son sent you? Oh, seriously, For loaned her for ages. I come here to test my deeper, but it didn't go to plan. I wish I could go back home. I miss my son dearly. Look at the house all you want, but I have no idea how to escape this place. Good sir, where's your scratch option? There it is! Gotta do actual cat stuff. Okay. Oh god, hello. Be careful with that deflator. Fully charged, it can explode Zerks like confetti. This baby needs gigawatt source. The only thing around here is the generator outside the house. Problems it won't start. I think the fuse blew and all the Zerks around is too dangerous for me to go outside and fix it. I'm not fast enough. You might, if you can reach the generator and replace the fuse, it should be able to get the deflects recharged. Come on, follow me. I'll show you what that can do. What the fuck do you mean? Oh, you motherfuckers are so Try me now, bitch! Take this fuse, it's brand new. Oh god. Turn on the generator will be loud so it expects some Zerks. Once you fix the generator, it should be able to charge and reconnect this. You'll need to follow this and meet me back here. Best of luck. I'm gonna die. Okay, wait, what's my, like, best plausible option? Because I'm assuming they're gonna come from everywhere, so I think my best course of action is just a fucking sprint. Time to go! Hey, yo, Doc, I'm gonna need some help! Thank you, good sir. Damn. Alright. I think I need to go to the other side. Maybe I can just do the fun thing and just chill inside the purple. It was that easy. I'm just a dumbass. You got the generator back now. See how powerful. We're out of here. Wait a minute. I might have to mount this to your drone. Baby! I can kill them now! Yes! I shouldn't be this excited to kill some things, but we're fine. Now installed to your fancy droid. Perhaps such a small powers is if you use it too much, it could malfunction. Just remember, it's dangerous. Now, let's go back to the village. I'm coming home, son. I'm very tempted. ready to play some Soons? Damn it. Can I get the puddle? No, damn it. Alright. Perfect. Sector can overheat. Let's cool down for a bit. It's the village. Alright. Try not to break the fancy device I was given. That'd be really bad. Look, I'm just a little guy. Switch isn't where it looked like electricity's been cut out. Damn it. Okay. Second good sir, I see the way. Don't mind me, making my way through. Finicky bastard. There we go. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. Get to see. Alright, cool. It straight up said we're gonna give you this, but you can't use it. That's well, fun, great. No. Eh. Please, please. No, I was right there. I was right there. Oh, I gotta hold it. What the fuck? There's so fucking many. Oh my god. We're just gonna run them around and see how this goes. But Jesus Christ, there's so many. Oh yeah, I forgot they're attracted to light. Oh, damn it. I was about to say. Damn, this is annoying even with the thing. We're just not gonna go through the front. Jesus Christ. You bad? I know I'm bad. But that seemed to work, just keeping them in the back. Got all of them? You. That was close. Let's head back home. God, please. Don't want to be here anymore. He's being sneaky. Meanwhile, I'm just like zoomy. Surprise, motherfucker! I lived, bitch! Damn, if only my father could hug me like that. I didn't get the glare this time. See? I'm a good cat. Thank you for saving Doc, little friend. It's great to see Seamus no longer alone. Now we know we can fight back against the Zurks. Home has been waiting you by the sewers. Ah. Did good together. I'm about to say, yeah, I rubbed up against them. Now we're not gonna change the music. Employee of the month. Oh no! What happens if I trip him? Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not that much of a cunt. I'm a cunt. But not by much. Come on. Damn it. I got that one. What's up, good sir? I didn't do it. Alright, that I did. I saw that. I was about to say, can I jump down there? The answer is no. The ball. No, need more brainstorming. Hello, what do you want? Good sir, I'm just looking for a soda machine so I can get a painting because I'm a bitch. No, we're getting in the bucket. I'm sorry, the cat instincts came in. I love just throwing shit around because that's fun. Oh wait, no, this is bad area. I was like, for a second, I could not, like, run. It's okay, you can leave the guardian side, it's not a Zerk. The fuck did I do? Ugh. Oh, Jesus Christ. This place is creepy. Yeah, no shit. Never get over my title of being a cat. Or Fetch Quest's cat. we go. What the fuck are those? Okay, I had a feeling that just scared the slight shit out of me. Can I bake them beforehand? Oh my god. Oh no. Let's not do that because they said they're attracted to light. Alright, cool. Something there. Whoa. Oh, this is where we're going. You love a good cutscene. Oh shit. That's to do it manually. Yep. Knew that was gonna happen. We're on our own again. shit that I don't want to fucking touch. Oh! Okay. Nope, it's like, don't even bother. I do my little trot trot. Continue going with my little trot trot. Shit. Alright. Cool. Holy shit, there's so many. Okay, you just gotta keep on. Holy shit, you're joking me. Oh fuck, I just went around a fucking circle. If you're telling me I could have avoided that, I'm actually gonna be a little bit pissed. Why did that save? Okay. Now where the fuck do we go? I did it without dying for once. Whoa. Son of a bitch. What door? Oh, son of a bitch. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, creepy eyeballs. Hate that. I don't know if I got a save. I'm not going to question if I did or did not. There it is. That is fucking terrifying. Why? No, please. Please, no. Go. Go, little friend. Oh shit, now I'm playing! Well, surprisingly... Go faster, please. Fuck. No! Please! Get up. It's dark. I was alone. I felt like I was back in the network. But you saved me. Thank you, friend. Rhinel's power is rough on my core. He's completely destroyed now. We'll have to be careful. Well, that's great. That's fun. That's fantastic. Top from the sewers, yeah. Haven't seen one of you in ages. Are you one that contacted us earlier, the little outsider? Expecting you, who's meditating at the top of our village. I lived, bitch. I lived. The machine the scientist scientist. I used one of these. He was sick of his last hope. He walked into the machine. But I wasn't with him, he was alone. What was he doing? He updated himself on the computer and everything was different. With the upload, something went wrong. He was stuck for hundreds of years. Until a little cat appeared. That was me. It was me. I was the scientist. I was human. I need a moment. I'm sorry. I need a moment. I don't feel like talking right now. That hurt.
When I saw what part you were at, I was like, wait, I want to see this.
That hurt. I'm sorry. I'm a little shit. I had to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What else have I forgotten? Must have parents, friends, what happened to everyone? I want to open the city, but is there anyone left to save? Ow! And here we are going through an existential crisis. Oh, dude's just chilling. I love that. What's this? Yo. What? Wait, you don't know how to shoot a fellow during his invitation. Oh, it's you. Here with Momo when we received the call earlier. I'm glad I was a little outsider. You know Momo and Doc, you're already familiar with us outsiders. I miss them. Their memories bring me peace. Momo stayed in the slums. I heard you helped find Doc and Clementine. She's in Midtown now. Please don't want to go outside. She's the one who can get you there. Apparently she has some kind of plan to leave the city. Here, take this. I wrote her address in the back of this paper. Reach Midtown, climb our little village. It should be easy for a dexterous one like you. If you manage to get the outside, you will be the very first. I wish you luck, but you don't need it. I believe in you. I'm sorry for shutting down earlier. Now you're fifth. I'm here, probably the last in the world. Now, look what's left of me. So it's come back to me. How much have I forgotten? Find Clementine, restore my memory, and get home. You can go back and find out more from companions or head onwards to Midtown. This food is actually horrible, but it's the only good thing, only thing around. To unscrew my phone to cast if I keep eating this trash. This stuff forever. People call me Tin Chef. Specialize in upcycling leftovers. Stay special. ramen J4 with my secret ingredients. God, I really do have cat instinct. Hello, buddy. How are you? Do you know that Aunt Clementine taught us how to grow special plants that can live without sunlight? I have a huge collection of them. Don't you want to see them? I'm missing one color, though. I'm missing yellow plant, a red, and a purple plant. Can you get them for me? Aw, oh, damn it. They took my drinks. But that's fine. I'm bored. Aunt Clementine used to hold classes here. We learned a lot of cool stuff. Let's head back down just so then I can like meet all the people. I missed the bucket. I'm very happy if I can swing. I'm sorry, cat instincts to a burr. Oh, it's a long time since they had visitors. Well, except the Zamzurks, of course. Imagine if we could harness their power, having them run on wheels. For something such wasted potentials, make them into hamsters! So sorry, good sir, I gotta fuck up your carpet real fast. Electric circuits. Isaac, oh my god. This language. This companion robots made it from scratch. How impressive. I remember it happening when I was in the network. I don't know exactly, but one time all the companions started to switch to these symbols. I was stuck in the computer and alone for so long. I translated every symbol in the world until I was able to understand everything. So now I'm out and I know their language. I'm curious to hear all of them have to say. The judgment. The judgment. Please, I'm a cat. Let me be a cat. Productive period, so she says. I'm sure she'd become a great artist. If only she would practice somewhere else. I love the smell of fresh paint. It reminds me of... Oh wait, I can't smell anything. How sad. There's more than 900 shades of white paint. I can't tell anyone, but I'm creating my own shade of paint. I'm calling it garbage brown. You'd be amazed. It's not like I'm an art student or anything. Who knows how many fucking Maybe I should have won at least 8 times. Don't tell anyone I'm actually programmed to win this game. Oh. Well, that was fun. me talk to him already. That washing machine's not having a fun time. The soothing sound of falling trash, shimmering waterfalls, no danger. It's blissful peace, place to work on my poetry. Here, listen. There, mighty construct, shield me in the womb, shall this be my tomb? You think it's too solemn? I've heard, more depressing shit. Oh, damn it. Shit. Fuck. My brain is actually ADHD right now. God fucking damn it, dude. Hope to God we met, everyone. My instinct is really just to sprint because I don't know what the fuck is gonna try to kill me. Look, at the subway station. I completely forgot this kind of transportation existed. You can rise at anywhere in the city. People used to go to work. I used to take it too. Every morning after saying goodbye to my family at home. Remember, I was doing this for them, but now they're gone. It was a long time ago. I want to see the outside, but does that even matter anymore? What happened to them? What happened to everyone? It's them. Let's find Clementine. We have pictures so we can show it to some of the canyons around here and they'll point us in the right direction. Hehehehe. I just wanted to sit on it. There's so many books here. The turning test legitimacy, the ethics of artificial intelligence. I recognize some of these. Do I have a library? Remember, nothing quite like the smell of books and turning pages. It was a feeling almost like comfort. The books like spending time with someone. Why did I get a save? Wanted Clementine, troublemaker, outside rebellious, please report. Oh shit! I already told you 5 times, you can't run around, it's dangerous. Hey, this is the first time I've seen a kind of rabbit, it looks so fluffy. Oh, it's the girl who played on this wanted stream, right? Should ask someone else, I'm too busy with your to know anything. Don't worry about trash, Nico's corporation takes care of everything. Oh shit. Please state your identity. The operation will have to transfer you to jail and reboot you. Please leave me alone. I'm not the one you're looking for. You're looking for Clementine. I'm sure she's hiding in the residence. Catwalk, Midtown. I know I just said, eh. Yeah, we'll go until we meet Clementine. Hey, I'm off to work. See you later. Oh, honey, please be careful of the Sentinels. They're being quick to arrest for no good reason. Don't worry about me, babe. I'm good. Well! Oh. Yeah. Consider this tomorrow. If I place my arm with another robot arm, the next day another robot arm too, then my body and so on until it frees all my parts and upgrade my software. Will I be the same robot you're talking to now? Hey, you're showing me right now. A bunch of people I don't know. My guess is they probably live in the massive house building further down uptown. What do you want with that? Oh, the mirror is so cool. Next door, we work all day to gather the waste and send it downstairs for the cycle repurpose. Speaking of downstairs, it's been a while since we heard news from them. Cool picture of that one. Hey, it's an address on the back. First symbol is a street, and then it's a floor and a door number. Should be pretty easy to find. How much you want to bet? I'm just gonna look it up. Sorry, Lillian, you can't play over here. Next to Core Factory is no place for a fuzzball like you. Access restricted, but only for a little while. If you wait a few years, we'll open it right back up. Fuck you, I do what I want! I'm busy. What do you want? Yes! Sorry. I've never been so excited to have a cat in a box. Cat in a box, what will he do? Club's closed, get lost. Damn. Shit, okay. Damn it. You've been to the city, but I had a friend there, Fifi. I haven't seen him in ages. Ow. Actually, wait, there was more people I missed. Shush. Whoa! The merchant crook sold me a faulty battery the other day. I just tends not to me every time I try to find him, but if it weren't for the Sentinels, I'd probably end up with it as a spare part. I got an achievement! Oh, he's low on power. Oh shit, what's the digit code? I'm too lazy to go through. Ah. Cat badge. Oh, cool, I got a save from that. Oh, well, we are already on the wrong fucking route for that. Pretends not to hear me. Bestie, he's fucking dead as hell. Right, anyone else around here? Nope, that's... They're trying to shop in Midtown, but the worker's pretty grumpy. Young punts listen to loud music all day. Don't touch anything, don't make a noise, don't ask for credit. I got to. Oh, there. Oh, shit. Damn. Can I knock him over when he's coming down? Damn it. No! I'm so sorry! I'm sorry. I honestly didn't mean to, but at the same time I fucking meant to. Cool, I did my job. Sorry, shop's closed. I'm waiting for the delivery guy. It seems that they're taking their sweet time. My bad. Do not proceed further. Access to outside is fully restricted and the elevator has been disbanded. The exterior is unsafe. Do not proceed further. Making friends with the people. You know what? My friends stay away from this scent. They're vicious, and I got my buddy Paulo. He has 350 years, so be careful. Oh, come to Ferrari, I now want to find this girl. It's only a matter of time before she gets caught by the Sentinels. So we keep asking around to end up finding her. Just know you'll also find trouble. I just walked near the elevator and got yelled at by a Sentinel. For years I've been told that the access service is uninhabitable. We just accept that fact, but why? You know, work is work, Slippy. Don't lose your head about it. Oh, that's a weird feeling. Please, please. Yes. That looked like a sneaky stink. It's adorable! I'm not leaving anytime soon. Hi, Z! How are you? So sorry if you smashed with that a little while ago. Is he purring? Please, I am just here. I am just here being a little scrunkly. Doing my best, getting some lovin's. Because nothing is wrong about that. As much as I would love to keep doing this, I gotta keep going. Not the suit back in! Please, no. Yes, the little cat stretch. Yellow. What can I do for you, baby? Oh, what can I do for you tonight, chef? Can't you pay with real money? I don't got real money. I'm a cat. I don't got shit. Oh. Sushi's cuter. Oh, Sushi's 10 times cuter. You can't take me alive. Shit. Like invisible force field. They can't take me alive. I didn't do shit. I tried downloading an aimbot to best at the games, but end up with a malware. I'm not sure why everything seems odd now. Nice picture. I've seen this girl before, I think. She's looking for information on all sorts of old machines. Weird. Yo. Mastered every game that ever existed. I can't figure out how this one works. I'm not sure of the whole picture here. Let's go before I think. She's looking for information. Thanks. Damn! Oh, I took it. Try and catch these paws. I don't know, Tony. I pretty much like everything. My favorite drink is oil. What's yours? The way the music ended. Okay, cool. I didn't break them. What will it be today, little sir? Our world seems gigantic for your little eyes. I wish I'd get a chance to use guys more new hidden places. Is she? My bad, good sir. Oh, they're doing helium. Hee hee. Hee hee.
Stop trying to always swipe it out of my feet.
Found place I'm not supposed to be. Try and catch these paws, coppers. That should not have scared the shit out of me. Even if the guy bums me out, he's the only customer. Try not to scare him away. I used to own a bar. It was the coast place until I took a screwdriver to the knee and it's closed now. That seems like the place I'm supposed to go, but am I gonna go there? No. Have I already met you? Yes, I have. Thank you, Albert. Try and catch these paws, bitch! Mojo, isn't it so cold right now? So chilly, I think nothing bad can happen to us. Whoever named the Mojo, I love you. Yo, can I borrow some music? Life is boring since I'll put camera in our residence. Okay, those tapes are ours. I can give you some, but you have to do something. Okay. Send us some salt 3 camera to watch over us. We don't like that. Can you get them off our backs? Give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. You know what you mean you forgot your character sheet. I spent the whole week preparing this session. They're D&D nerds! Yes! I'm sorry, I forgot where I put it, but let's play anyways. I'll go back in the cave. Let's go. They're D&D nerds!
Silly.
Cat in the box, so what will I do? Wait, was that just the box? No, okay. That was really just the box. Another box. Another box.
I've been supposed to take 2 minutes.
Have you just been taking one?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This isn't melatonin, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I've just been taking 1. I thought 1 might come up full.
Okay.
I'll take 1 now.
So
and 1
these
tomorrow
are the cameras. There's one.
morning.
I love just fucking around. Bye.
Just a little bit.
No, I'm assuming. Now where's the third? Ah, the third one's over there. Gotcha. Surprise, motherfucker! I did it. Do crime. 5 minutes tops. Be a cat, do crime. Oh, hello. You didn't see me do shit. What are you exactly? A quad trip that makes cute sounds. I like the concept. Fuck yeah! Ah yes, vandalism? That's destruction of government property. It's a little bit worse, but we don't care. What are they gonna do? Arrest me? What are they gonna do? Lock me up? I dare them. Oh! The way I slid. What's that noise? I held up my bearings last night. Well done. I didn't think you could do it. Here, take my prize. You burned it. Yes. Thank you, good sir. Enjoy our song. You love it. Is that the Holy fucking Bible? Hold up. Don't worry about it. Oh, did he fix it? No, it's still playing. Alright, cool. Actually, hold up, pause.
This is for me, not for you.
Okay. He doesn't have anything for me. But what about the person that was up here? There's an address. It's just here. You told us to find her. She's an outsider too. There's also a series symbol written back in the picture. Damn, if only... Siren Head vibes. Damn, if only you would fucking tell me what the numbers were. I didn't mean to do that. One of the guys told me what this was for. Shit. When the fuck was... Oh, my last checkpoint was 17 minutes ago. Well... I don't have a pen. I keep fucking hitting different numbers. So 3, 5... There we go. Smart, bestie. But not smart enough. So yeah, oh, she blocked it off so they can't get to her. Alright. Please don't fucking... She's me. I thought you were a scent. Never mind. Who are you? What do you want? Wait. Finally decided someone. I guess you're a new recruit. You're not very big. How do you even manage the sewers? I guess you're pretty resourceful. I'm looking for a way to the outside ever since I left Ant Village. The Sentinels are always watching. Now you're here, can you help? Follow me. God damn it, she has the vibes I want. I want plants everywhere. Oh, and she got books? Oh, and she a crystal bitch. We best friends. She a crystal bitch. My urge just to cozy up right there is very high. I've been working on how to use the old subway for a while. I even have the key to start it. It's an atom battery to start it. My car has some cure inside the facility. I have a contact who can help us infiltrate them. I don't know his name. He's the robot with the bomber jacket and a gold chain. Someone saw us do like no trouble sneaking into the factory. Don't hesitate to ask around the facility is full for me. The stay clear to Sentinels. Cool, and it's saved. No. 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 Alright, I had to. Alright. Nah, I think we're gonna end it here, but we're gonna go on to the cozy spot. We're gonna rest here for a little bit. Nice little cozy area. Kato has such a bad demeanor. He hasn't done shit. He might have died like, I think, what, 13, 14 times because I'm a dumbass? But, ah! Wait. I spoke too soon. I left it. But alright. That's where I think I'm gonna end stream. Oh cool, they all left the Discord. That's fire. Or they all left the VC. Let's see. Who to raid? Is Meow Meow online? Meow Meow is not online. Angry day. Damn, I missed like 2 raids on someone's account. My bad. Let's see who's doing some Minecraft. I'm sorry, their fucking title got my attention. No, just because I think their fucking title's amazing. Awesome. So yeah, I don't know if I will be live tomorrow. I know I'm supposed to, but I don't know if I will. Because I have shit to do. And I have to do things. And I don't know if I'll have the mental capacity to do it. So yeah, I don't know if I will be live tomorrow. It will be a surprise to me, myself, and I. And also others. But yeah, Kato. We're letting the Kato sleep. But yeah, but I will be back possibly Thursday, because Wednesdays usually get fucked. But yeah, bye!